Hello, my name is 0%. I'm an aspiring video game developer, and today I wanted to talk about one of my favorite examples of pixel art cutscenes from the Super Nintendo game, Power Rangers The Fighting Edition. This is one of my favorite examples of not only Super Nintendo graphics, but also how developers had to be super creative in order to save room on the cartridge. Why, you may ask? Because with the exception of the background elements and the effects, both cutscenes add up to a total of 30 sprites, including the Rangers, and none of them are animated. So today I would like to analyze these two cutscenes and break down how they use each sprite. Both cutscenes start off the exact same, with all the other Ranger Zords moving across the ground. Well, mostly. The first thing that most players notice is that all four Zords are moving back and forth. But, looking closer, you can also notice that both the Yellow Griffin and Black Lion Zord are slightly shaking, whereas the Blue Unicorn Zord doesn't. This makes a lot of sense as soon as you realize that the Blue Zord is the furthest from the screen. Things moving rapidly are a lot more noticeable when they're closer. This effect is most likely achieved through the source code telling both the Yellow and Black Zords to alternate between two Y-axis pixel heights, while the back and forth on all four is achieved through an if statement. And most likely the up and down of the Firebird is achieved the exact same way, but on both X and Y axis. Then from the bottom of the screen, all 5 Power Rangers appear from the bottom, sliding upwards. I do believe in order to prevent the game from lagging when these characters load in, the developer had them already loaded, but they were just barely off screen. Then once the Rangers are in position for a moment, they disappear in rapid order, but not before a shader is applied to each one for flare, leaving only either the red or the white Ranger based on which character you picked. The screen behind them then fades to black, and then the Ranger teleports away. This effect, I believe, is achieved through the game creating a white or red square beneath the Ranger, and then its height is stretched to the top of the screen while the Ranger in question is covered with a colored square that increases in opacity until the Ranger is invisible. Then the game simply removes them. Once the Ranger is removed, the color square is then shrunken on both the X and Y axis, while simultaneously decreasing the opacity until it's gone. And now we get to the part that is different for each version. So I will start with the Thunder Megazord first. It starts with you only being able to see a thundery dark sky. Then slowly descending through the clouds you see the Red Dragon Zord. The Red Dragon does have some shaders being applied to show that it's reflecting lightning flashes. However, one thing to notice is that the Red Dragon is descending only along the Y-axis. Suddenly, a circle starting from the center of the screen expands out, flashing between blue and white, and as soon as you're able to see again, the sprite is now swapped for the Red Dragon Zord in Warrior mode. Now, as the Zord descends, it's moving along both axes, down and to the left. Once it gets to a certain point, the speed increases drastically. The screen then swaps to black while having what I call anime lines falling almost like raindrops, while a profile picture of the Red Dragon then rises from the bottom of the screen. You then see 2 shoulders rise from the bottom of the screen, and the helmet descends from the top. The 2 shoulders rise up at an angle, and once in a certain position then move straight down and lock into place. And something to note about the helmet is, as it is lowered, the helmet itself is actually made of 2 separate sprites. They both come down at the same speed, but at a certain point, the faceplate speeds up so that when it locks in place, it looks like it's locking onto the helmet. Which, even though it's a small detail, I still appreciate the designer showing enough care to show the player that the helmet is locking in. The eyes then flash due to a separate sprite of the whole Megazord being overlaid on top of the Zord and slowly lowering the opacity until it's gone. Although for me personally, I think I would have done this part a little differently. I would have made it so that the eyes were completely black until it was in position, and then I would have placed a sprite of the eyes over top and lowered the opacity until it was slightly dimmed. And now, on to the White Tiger Megazord. The screen starts with a forest rapidly looping to the right as the White Tiger comes running in. The thing I love about this scene in particular is the fact that there are 3 sprites being used in unison to create the illusion of movement. Both the body and legs are looping in a rhythm, while the tail is slightly rotating back and forth. Just like the Thunder Megazord, there's a flash on the screen before the White Tiger transforms into Warrior Mode. The Warrior Mode then slowly slides to the right and then speeds up. However, one difference between the two is that when the White Tiger speeds up, it has an after image, sort of like Mega Man X. Honestly, I love this effect. I hope to one day add it into my own games. It's such an amazing way to show the players the illusion that your character is moving way faster than they actually are. Exactly the same as the Thunder Megazord, we see the anime lines with the black background as the profile picture of Warrior Mode rises from the bottom of the screen. However, something cool to note is that when the shoulder armor comes in and docks onto the shoulders themselves are a separate sprite from the rest of the Zord. So once the pieces actually attach, you can see the shoulders buckle. The crown then lifts, revealing a visor, and a gem that was invisible then appears in the middle of the screen. While it simultaneously is being created, it also has a white circle placed over it that gets lowered in opacity until you just see the gem. One thing that I also wanted to note is that both Zords flash different colors in the background when they are complete. The Thunder Megazord flashing blue, and the Tiger Megazord flashing red. Both really great animated cutscenes, but clearly the animator was a bigger fan of the White Tiger Zord because compared to the Thunder Megazord, the Tiger has an additional 4 sprites in total, not even to mention the after image effect. Speaking of which, the designer of this game's animations is Shinichi Taniguchi, who is also known for making Shadow of the Ninja, Gundam Wing Endless Duel, Pocky and Rocky, Wild Guns, along with a long list of other games, his latest being released in 2022. I would like to thank you all for watching this video, and I would also like to tell you what my next project will be. Coming up next month on June 30th, Power Rangers the movie will be celebrating its 30th anniversary. Power Rangers has always held a special place in my heart. In fact, the movie was the first movie I ever saw in theaters. So, to celebrate, I will be creating and animating my own cutscene like these ones, but for the Ninja Megazord. The one from the show, not the one from the movie. No.